Good. All right. I'm going to share my screen here. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Perfect. All right. Again, thanks everybody for joining. Here we go. Okay. Now it's off. I got it. Okay, there we are. Everybody see that now? All right, starting off, I want to thank the board and the officers of the Chamber of Commerce for joining today and for all the work that they do to help make these events in the Chamber grow. Katie Castro, it's on here, is Vice President from Ameriprise. Dan Williford is our Secretary from McConville, Considine, Cumin, and Morin. Our directors also include Diane McClure here today from Edge Advertising Group, Ellen Reynolds from Aflac, Darren McKee from Pridemark Homes, Darren's with us today, Ramona Stein from Sounds of Life, and Tom Cappin from Solstice Senior Living. The mission of the Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping its members succeed by promoting commerce and economic vitality in the village of Fairport and the town of Perrington. We create programs and services that benefits its members through networking, mutual support, and education. So with that being said, we thank you for joining us today, and any event suggestions or any topics that you would like to hear more about, please share that, and we'd love to have your input. So today I'm actually joined with Paul Kaiser, and we're going to talk about some of the SBA programs available today, and we're real lucky to have Paul join us. Paul's got extensive experience in the commercial lending field and has a real deep knowledge of the SBA programs that we're going to go over today. So Paul, I thank you for taking the time to join us and share some of your insight and knowledge on these products and services.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for letting me join. And extensive knowledge, I think that also means old, right?
All right, to start with, I just want to give you guys a brief overview of Evans Bank. There's probably, you might not be familiar with it as much. Fairport Savings was acquired by Evans Bank back in May of last year. And Evans Bank is a local bank organized in 1920 out of Evans, New York, which is just outside of Buffalo, headed down the thruway, headed down the 90. If you pass Buffalo, you'd run into a small town from Evans. They grew into the Buffalo market with 15 branches, and now after the acquisition of Fairport Savings, they've added another 5. So 20 total branches with a brand new presence and the Rochester market. What does Evans do? Everything that your typical commercial bank does. On the commercial, they are a very commercial focused bank on the lending side as well as on the deposit side. So going into what we're going to talk about today, to give everybody an overview of the SBA. Most people are familiar with SBA, but might not know some of the details or some of its core values and programs that the SBA has and that the SBA offers. So the SBA is an independent agency of the federal government created to aid, assist, and counsel small business concerns. So the areas that the SBA can assist small businesses is with access to capital, entrepreneurial development, government contracting, and advocacy. So the area that we're going to focus on today is access to capital and go over some of the programs that might be most pertinent to you and your business. The SBA provides an array of programs and services, of which I've listed a few here that we're gonna touch on, including the Paycheck Protection Program, the brand new Restaurant Revitalization Fund, their core program that's been around for a long time, which is the 7A program and the 504 program, which we'll go into some more details on. Starting with the Paycheck Protection Program. For those of you, I'm sure you probably have all heard about the Paycheck Protection Program and kind of the details of it. Basically, in a nutshell, it was created to assist small businesses with keeping their workers on payroll and keeping them employed. It's been opened up to pretty much any small business. As you look down that list of eligible businesses, it's pretty much everybody, including nonprofit organizations and restaurant and food service entities. With that, the first round had started last year around this time. They created a second round, with this being a little bit narrowed down to businesses with 300 employees and fewer. Criteria being that you can show 25% revenue reduction during any one of the quarters between 2019 and 2020. Just a little note on that is that the Paycheck Protection Program has been extended through May 31st. So there's another month left in that program or until the funds run out. So if you haven't taken advantage of that, I would reach out to your bank or you're currently at. If you have any questions, aren't sure if you're eligible, more than likely you are. The revenue reduction it's pretty streamlined. It's a pretty simple process. So take advantage of it. They are accepting applications until the end of May, and they have a 30-day window to respond to those. Now, keep in mind, the closer you get towards the deadline, you may not, it's possible that you can get the application in and it doesn't go through the process, or there might be some questions and there's a possibility that you won't be funded. So if you haven't applied for it, I would do so as soon as you can. The next program, the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, which has just recently come out, was established to really assist the market highly affected by the pandemic and to keep the businesses going. There's a lot of funds that you could be able to potentially get up to $5 million per physical location with a total cap of $10 million. So the eligible entities that you see listed there encompass almost every business that has food or beverages associated with it, and even some wineries and tasting facilities where the public was open to tasting or sampling products. So with that, how to apply? So as of last night, they have updated the system. I want to stress that this is expected, the funds in this program are not expected to last long. So the way to apply is going to be through the SBA website directly, or with some point of sale software companies that a lot of you are familiar with. And it looks like they just really named Square as a payment processor and Toast that is going to be opening applications to this program through their direct software. So also with that being said, which has just come out, registration for this will begin this Friday, April 30th at 9 a.m., of which the SBA is going to begin accepting applications Monday, May 3rd at 12 p.m. The portal to register is on their website. So if you do fall into one of these categories, I'd encourage you to go there immediately and look at that and register. And also with that being said, they have a priority group designation for funding for this. So for the first 21 days, they're going to be opening it to small businesses that are 51% owned by women, veterans, or socially and economically disadvantaged individuals, which they have a list on their website of exactly who falls into that category. And also economically disadvantaged individuals who are in an area that are economically at a disadvantage. So those are going to be for the priority for the first 21 days of this program. You can still register on their website, which I would encourage you to do if you don't fall into this category. Just keep in mind, funds, they are expecting funds to go quickly in this program. How they're going to calculate what you're eligible for. They're going to, the first calculation here is for businesses that were open prior to or on January 1st of 2019. So basically, they're going to take your gross receipts in 2019, subtract your gross receipts from 2020, as well as any PPP funds that you've had, and that's what you're going to be eligible to apply for, that difference. The second calculation for businesses that started partially through 2019 would be your average monthly gross receipt in 2019, multiplied by 12, and then subtracting out those 2020 gross receipts and any PPP funds that you might have had. Third calculation, and what this program is in operation for businesses that started in 2020. Between January and March 10th of this year, even applicants that have not yet opened, but they have incurred expenses, and they have a list of eligible expenses in detail on their website. And basically what they're doing for that is they're taking the expenses that you've accumulated between that time and subtracting out the gross receipts that you've had. So your expenses and your overall gross receipts, also subtracting out any PPP funds that you may have been eligible for. So I've got a link to their website listed below. If any of that will apply to you, I encourage you to go review some more of the details on that. The next thing I want to talk about is some other programs that are offered you. I'm going to go over this 7A. Paul might correct any mistakes I have with his knowledge, and he's going to talk more about the 504 program. These programs have been around for a while, and what they are, you know, if you're a new business or you are maybe have a business structure where you don't have a lot of collateral, this 7A program is offered through banks. And what the SBA does is in order to make them more doable for a bank to do, they will provide guarantees that these loans are good, and they, in the event that the business has problems, the SBA will guarantee the loan. And they can be used for a number of different things, such as short and long-term working capital, refinancing current business debt, purchasing equipment, fixtures, supplies, and it's their most commonly used program. Basically, to be eligible, you need to be in operation for profit. Some of the other terms and conditions they have is defined by the SBA is you need to do business in the U.S. You have to have a reasonable invested equity, willingness to use alternative financial resources, including personal assets, before seeking financial assistance. Use the funds for sound business purposes and not be delinquent on any existing debt applications with the U.S. government. Some basic uses, we touched on the short-term working capital, revolving funds or lines of credit, where you're using inventory and receivables, equipment, machinery, furniture, fixtures, supplies, or material purchases. Can use it for real estate, including land and buildings, construction, and refinancing existing debt, which Paul's going to talk more about the 504 program that's specifically designated for real estate in very attractive terms and conditions. Repayment terms on the 7A program are they offer term loans and lines of credit, fixed rate, fixed loan payments, as well as variable rate loans, which you may see more on the line of credit side. And the percentage of guarantee that the SBA offers during this pandemic time, they actually increased it to 90%. Typically, for loans up to 150,000, they would guarantee 85% of that loan value. Over $150,000, they would guarantee 75% of that loan. So that makes it much more, that gives the bank much more flexibility to mitigate some of the risks that are associated with new businesses, or maybe if a business doesn't have collateral to offer on that. The SBA is created to assist with guaranteeing some of those loans and making them more doable for your banks to do. So with that being said, Evans Bank is what they call an SBA Export Express lender. So some banks have that designation where they've done enough loans with the SBA where they have a designation of an express lender. So what that entails as a export express lender is they have a streamlined process where up to 500,000, where the actual lending institution will use their own credit decision process and loan documentation to do the loan. And then the SBA your bank will submit the loan to the SBA and they'll respond to the application within 24 hours. And being an express loaner, there's a 90% guarantee for loans up to 350,000 and 75% for loans of more than 350,000. It's a great program to use for a number of different things that could come into play for a small business owner. With that, I just listed a couple of statistics that Evans has done as far as SBA lending in the markets that they're in. And they've consistently over the last few years ranked 5th, 4th, and in the Buffalo region, they have ranked number 2 in total combined SBA loans. So something that the bank likes to utilize and has done a good job in doing so. Now, there's other banks do offer express lending and other financial institutions such as Pursuit Lending that I'm going to turn over to Paul that can do these 7A programs. Now, also what Paul is going to talk about is the 504 program, and that's a program that a traditional bank can't offer. A financial institution like Pursuit that has that specific designation is authorized to do that program. So with that being said, I'll turn it over to Paul and let him go into some more detail on that stuff. Paul, I'm just gonna make you the host here. Let's get out of here.
Did you change it yet, or? I'm technology challenged as well.
Yeah. I'll stop sharing here. All right. All right. You should have it any second.
Okay. I gotta find the. All right, go back to the front. Yes, this is my, usually Jim and I did a little practice before this because I'm not adept at screen sharing. I usually have my 18 or 21-year-old help me with the technology here. So I appreciate everybody allowing me to come and talk about Pursuit and the 504 program. As Jim mentioned, I've been in banking 30 years, been at Pursuit about almost 5. Live in Fairport with my kids and moved here in 2001. Love the Fairport area. Just love it, actually. Big question is, what is Pursuit and how can we help? So Pursuit, we're a bank, but we're not like Evans Bank. We're more of what's called a certified development corporation, authorized by the SBA to do SBA loans. We've been around since 1955. but we used to be called New York Business Development Corporation, or NYBDC. We rebranded about a year ago because we expanded down into Jersey and Pennsylvania. So we wanted to have one name. So about a year ago, we rebranded as Pursuit. But as Jim mentioned, you know, the main thing that we offer is SBA loans. I always tell, you know, the clients and bankers, you know, we're a conduit to the SBA. Our specialty is doing SBA loans. And we don't do lines of credit like Jim made, you know, Evans will do an SBA backed line of credit. We really don't. We don't take deposits like Evans does. You know, so we're strictly focused on what's called the SBA 504 loan program and the SBA 7A program. And to Jim's point on Evans doing 7A loans, we approach it to a bank, you know, because our shareholders are member banks across New York State. So Evans is a nice shareholder of the bank. And they basically, you know, fund us by lending us money so we can lend it out on deals that maybe banks don't want to do or in conjunction with banks. So on a 7A loan, we could do it in lieu of Evans Bank doing it. We could do it with Evans Bank. If they wanted us to participate with them, we can certainly do that. It really, you know, our goal is to cater to the bankers that are in our market and the clients and say, okay, what's the best delivery option for the 7A or 504? And I put our website on there. Our website has a lot of good information. If you're looking for just general information, like Jim mentioned, the PPP program, we try to put as much information on access to capital on our website. So at some point, I urge you to peruse that because I've had many a banker tell me that we have a lot of good information that they couldn't find anywhere else in terms of access to capital. So please, you know, at some point, check that out. The 504 program is what I focus mainly a lot of my time on, and it's has nothing. You know, it's like, what does 504 mean? It's just it's a. I think it started as an area of the policy that the SBA developed. So it doesn't really stand for anything, but just called the 504 program. But my boss always uses the quote, the best economic development financing product available to small business. I'm not sure who coined that, but he always uses it. So we use it in a lot of presentations. But I've been in banking 30 years. It's a really good product that I even sold before I worked here, because I really do believe it helps out, you know, small and mid-sized companies. And what the 504 program really is, it helps acquisition and improvement of owner-occupied real estate, equipment and machinery purchases, renovations and leasehold improvements, or you can refinance debt that have been incurred for the purposes that we talked about. So it has to be fixed asset in nature. When it's not fixed asset in nature, then we go to the 7A program, as Jim mentioned, for working capital or other refinance of debt that wasn't related to fixed assets. So that's the big first key is it fixed asset related? The nice part about the 504 structure is a typical structure is what's called the 50-40-10. So a bank will come to us and bring us in a deal, and they usually take the first 50% first mortgage. We, through the SBA, come in for that 40% second mortgage, and then the owner has to put in 10% equity. So that's the first big key of why it's a great program. Is it really, if you have a client or you guys are looking to buy your owner-occupied building for your business, and you've been in business for a while, you can come up with only as little as 10% equity. And the other nice part is that 10% could be seller held debt. So I've done many deals on companies that are in growth mode that don't even have that 10%, and they'll ask the seller to hold that 10%. And as long as the seller agrees to hold that on a subordinate basis, they can still get paid. They just got to be kind of fall in line behind the bank and behind the SBA. The SBA allows that. So I've done deals where the customers financed a $2 million building and really paid $25,000 of closing costs, and that was it. You know, the equity was held by somebody else. So, and that differs from the 7A, because the 7A, the SBA is a little more finicky on they really like more hard cash collateral in there than on a 504. So that's the first big structure. The second nice piece is that 40% that we do through the SBA. So as a certified development corporation, we initiate that SBA loan for an SBA guarantee, and we don't hold it on our balance sheet. It's something that the SBA funds it via a bond debenture, and we become kind of a servicing agent for that loan. But that 40% loan, right now, it's fixed for 20 or 25 years. And right now the rates are about 3.02 for 20 years or 3.08 for 25 years. So that's the second really big benefit for the client, is that It's really long-term fixed rate financing that, you know, once it's set, as long as they're making their payments, they don't really hear from the SBA again. There are some different variations of the 504. If the property is special purpose or a startup. So if someone comes to me and says, hey, I'm gonna start a new restaurant, I want to buy this building, and it's their first restaurant, then it'd be a startup. So the SBA asks for extra 5% additional equity on that. Or if the property is special purpose. Special purpose could be like a doctor's office or surgery center. So we have a lot of doctors that want to expand into a surgery center. Well, a surgery center usually has very special HVAC requirements that will add more cost to it. And the SBA will say, well, it's special purpose because of that. So they ask for additional 5% there. So if you have either startup or special purpose, the SBA asks for 5% additional equity. If unfortunately you have a startup that's special purpose and a startup, then it's 20% equity. So I'm trying to think if I have a recent one example, a winery. So I've got a winery I'm talking to, it's a startup winery, special purpose and a startup. So they're going to have to come up with 20% equity. But again, the 20% could be held by the seller of the property. You could borrow it from friends and family. Some counties, like I know Ontario County is really good at attracting business, and sometimes they have a loan fund that could be used to as equity as well. Eligibility, again, has to be owner occupied, and it has to be at least 51% owner occupied. If it's a brand new building to be constructed, it has to be at least 60% owner occupied. So what we tend to see a lot of is maybe a mixed use where first floor could be for the business and the second floor could be a couple of apartments. So what we have to do is we have to make sure that we have to look at the total square footage of that property, make sure at least 51% of the square foot of that tax parcel is being occupied by our company. Has to be for-profit business, even though like the PPP loans allow not-for-profits to partake in that. The typical SBA structure is they will not support a not-for-profit. It has to be for-profit. And again, we can't really do anything residentially. It has to be commercially focused. It could be residentially zoned as long as they have like if you have I've got a couple deals right now where it's residentially zoned, but they have like, it's kind of a mixed use. And as long as we have town approval and zoning that they can operate their business there, we can do that, but we just can't finance a residential property per se. Other details, loan amounts can go up to 5.5 million. There actually is right now, there's been something passed by the House trying to take that to 6.5 million. Hasn't been signed into law yet. So there are some improvements that the SBA is trying to increase those. There are ways around that cap. The SBA likes to push renewable energy. So if we had a deal that is a good example, I was working with a gentleman who was acquiring some self-storage facilities across New York State, and he hit the cap at the 5.5 million. And then on his next acquisition, he instituted some geothermal energy on the property, and the SBA allows you, if you can show that you're saving 50% energy on a project by using renewable energy, they take the cap away and the new cap is 16 million. So in that case, this gentleman was able to acquire more properties by using green energy to go up to $16 million to utilize the 504 loan program. Terms are 10, 20, or 25 years. 10 usually is equipment. And by equipment, it can't be like over-the-road equipment. It has to be like larger machinery, larger equipment that's going to have at least a 10-year useful life. So we couldn't, it's really hard to do like computers and things of that nature that don't have a useful life more than 10 years. But usually we'll see like a big printing press. If we've done a couple of deals where a large printer wants to buy a new $1 million printing press, we can do a 10-year 504 loan on that. And the 10-year rates are right now about 2.7% fixed for 10 years. Time to funding. Everyone always asks with an SBA, what's the downside? And I say the downside is it does add some time. If we're working on a deal together, Evans is going to have their underwriting process. We also have an underwriting process out of Albany that underwrites our deal to get it approved. And then we can send the whole package to the SBA, and the SBA adds about 15 to 20 business days for their approval. So there's a little bit more time to funding from that perspective. But as long as we're brought in upfront fast, we can minimize that. And usually the bankers are good about calling me up ahead of time and getting us involved early as opposed to later. Quick slide on the benefits of conventional versus 504. Conventional, you typically have to come up with 20 or 25% equity. Usually in conventional, you're going to get a 10-year term with a 20-year amortization with 5-year rate resets. In a New York State, you've got to pay mortgage tax on the real property mortgage that you file. Again, the 504 is little as 10% equity, 10, 20, or 25 years available. Current rates right now, 3.08 for 25 years. And there is no mortgage tax on the second mortgage that we file. Our CDC out of Albany is a not-for-profit, so there's no mortgage tax due on that. So it can save considerable amounts of money for the customer by not having to pay that 1% in Monroe County on that second mortgage tax. Other important facts, there is prepayment penalties. For the first 10 years, if they want to prepay the loan in whole, there's a penalty on that. It's not onerous, but essentially the SBA, wants to recoup some of the costs it had to put into that debenture. But usually I always tell clients, if you got a first mortgage and a second mortgage, our rate usually is well below a point or two below what the bank's offering. I always say, try to prepay your first mortgage loan first at the higher rate and keep your lower rate intact for at least the 10 years and then pay it off after that. The 504, how we make money as a CDC. When we do a 504 loan, there's an underwriting fee, there's a CDC processing fee, there's an SBA fee. So basically we get paid an underwriting fee and a processing fee from the SBA by doing these loans. So when we do a 504 loan, there's about 3% fee. It gets financed into the SBA loan. So they're not paying it upfront. And that's about 3% of the loan portion that we do. Right now, with the recent Affordability Act, I believe that the president signed, the SBA is paid 1.5% of that 3%. So there is a little benefit on the 504 loan program right now by saving 1.5% of that. We talked that the equity can be cash, value in property, seller held debt, borrowed money from a county. The 504 program is a job creation product. So one of the first questions I have always asked a client is, okay, you're expanding your new business. What are your job creation requirements? And what can you bring to the table in job creation? Because the SBA requires us to tell them that. And there are requirements of, I think for every $125,000 of loan piece that we do, there should be one job created. That also is being increased, I believe, to 150 or 155 with the newest act being signed by the House, but it's not in law yet. But so the idea is job creation. I do have situations where, like self-storage facilities, they really don't create a lot of jobs. But if it's rural or if it's really important to the community, like if we had something in Fairport that was not going to meet a job creation requirement, I can go to the village of Fairport and ask for a letter of support from the village saying, hey, we really want this project to happen in Fairport because it's going to help our tax base. It's going to bring more people to Fairport. And the SBA will accept it as well. So if there is enough job creation, it's not the be all end all. We just have to kind of work around that with a letter of support from whatever municipality it's going to be operating in. The 504 loan, it is a separate closing from the bank. So typically the bank will fund the first mortgage and bridge the SBA 504 loan until we can close our loan. So we don't hold up closing from that perspective. Once we have all of our approvals in place, the bank is good to close. And then we typically close. If there's no construction involved, we'll close 30 to 45 days after the bank. If there is construction, we cannot close until the construction is complete and the owner occupant is actually in the property and operating. So before I talk about that, is there any questions on I know I'm trying to be cognizant of everyone's time there. I went over the 504 really pretty fast on a 50,000 foot level there. But if there's any questions, anybody have any questions on the 504 program itself?
Actually, I'm curious.
Yep.
Are you guys working with economic development organizations such as GRE, or do you primarily just deal with the SBA?
So I do, well, so there's myself, as an economic development agency, Monroe County. Actually, I compete with Monroe County. Monroe County actually offers the same program that I have, that Monroe County can do a 504 loan program. It's the same program, same rates, same structure, everything's the same. It's just a different delivery methodology versus them versus us. I know the folks in Monroe County, they're very great people. I being a banker in the past, I think I offer a better service for the client because I know the paperwork. I try to fill as much of the paperwork for the client as I can. But sometimes they go to the county, sometimes they come to us. It's in the end of the day, as long as the 504 program is being used, I think we're all happy. GRE, I actually do know a lot of the folks at GRE, and I have been called. A lot of stuff what they're doing is larger companies that may not fit in the 504 program. But I have gotten calls, a few friends over there that will call me in on new projects that may be smaller and will ask me to consult and talk to them on the 504 or SBA financing or just financing in general. So I do a lot of work with Ontario County Economic Development. I just got the phone yesterday with Livingston County. So I try to know a lot of the economic developers where I can. Yeah, so I would say we work very closely with those folks.
Gotcha. Okay.
Any other questions? And obviously, if you guys have questions after this and, my contact info is at the end of this, you can certainly email me or call me. I'm happy to talk about it more in depth because I know it can be confusing. And overall, I think out of the SBA perspective, I know when Jim talked about 7A, a lot of times people think that using the SBA is a weakness in their business. And it's really not. The SBA is a good tool, especially for what's going on in the last year with COVID. I mean, a lot of bankers have the bankers like Jim answer to credit manager, and the credit people, get scared, because they're not in the sales side. And especially with COVID, we're seeing a lot of pushback on restaurants, bars, things that have been really adversely impacted by COVID. So, the SBA program really can help that financing where banks may not be able to help with that. Or if you have a company that does great, like a great idea is a service company, a computer-based company. They have people, don't have a lot of fixed assets. So sometimes a bank will look at that and say, wow, you guys are great at generating cash flow, but there's no collateral for this $1 million loan. So we need some enhancement. So the SBA is for that. But the SBA also has good resources that, is free. Your tax dollars, our tax dollars pay for the SBA. They have what's called the SBDC, the Small Business Development Centers. There's one at Geneseo, there's one in Brockport, there's one downtown here, and they offer free resources to help your clients or you guys write a business plan. So the SBA is a really good tool that, again, people get turned up like, oh my God, I had to use the SBA. That means I'm weak. Doesn't mean you're weak. Just means could be a weakness or just could means, using the 504 is really just a function of getting you better terms and helping you maximize your equity by keeping more cash in your pocket to utilize that cash for growth of your company. What else does Pursuit do? We do 7A loans. My marching orders from my bosses in Albany is that I should not do a 7A loan that a bank can do. We tend to see deals that banks don't want to do. We're seeing a lot of, like I said, restaurants, bars, startups right now. So we tend to get riskier deals sent to us. And we have other programs like under 250. We have some other programs from the SBA where we get a higher guarantee percentage. Typically, now it's 90% because of the special things. But when that goes away, we have an 85% guarantee program that we're incented to do more risk from the SBA because of our CDC designation. So usually when we're seeing 7A loans, it's because a bank doesn't want to do it. Could have been a previous bankruptcy, could have been a startup with a restaurant that right now banks don't want to look at. So again, I always say to the bankers, if you can find, or to a customer, if you can find a bank to do your 7A loan, do that first. If you can't, we're happy to look at that and try to help the bank out. We will price our SBA loans, our 7A loans, about a point higher than a bank because we're taking more risk usually. We also do SBA microloans, and microloans are up to $50,000. Locally, Passstone Corporation, another great corporation that does also microloans. I do refer a lot over to Passstone if they're in the city and they want to deal with somebody locally. But we have the microloans up to $50,000. We have a smart loan program up to $100,000. So a lot of companies, we get approached by the New York State. We're not part of New York State government, but we get approached by the government a lot up in Albany. And they came to us years back and say, hey, listen, a lot of the companies in New York State are being taken advantage of by these predatory lenders online. And you can get money really fast online if your company makes fairly decent money. but you're paying, usually daily compounded interest, so at the end of the day, it could be a 20 or 30 or 40% rate on that loan based on how they make you repay it. So the state came to us and said, will you guys develop a product for New York State businesses to help them? So the state said to us, and we'll lend you money from the Common Retirement Fund at whatever percent they lend it to us. And you guys can, try to help out, New York State businesses so they don't get taken advantage of. So we developed the Smart Loan program up to $100,000. And, if they're break even or better cash flow, they got a credit score, I believe, over 620. They've been in business at least 2 years. I think the revenue's got to be over $100,000. There's like 5 criteria. If they meet those 5 criteria, they're automatically approved in like 3 or 4 days, and it can be funded within 2 weeks. The downside with that program, it's a little higher rates, about 13% rate, or I think it's 11.9% rate right now. But if they need money fast and they don't want to pay 20, 30%, they can get this loan for them. If they don't like 11.9, we can go to a 7A loan and get them a better rate than 11.9. But that product is available to try to help someone who's going to be looking at taking another online loan. If you don't pay 20%, pay 11.9 and get fast turnaround as well. So we have that product. PPP loans, Jim talked about those. We have done $750 million to 10,500 New York State businesses in the last year and a half. And I will say, I think we're kind of burned out. I think a lot of bankers are burned out of PPP. It's taken a lot of resources. We've done a lot of good with that product. Our portal is closing in 2 days. We've got a backlog of loans that we're trying to get through in May because we have to get them into the SBA portal by May 30th. So we're closing our portal in a couple days. And I would bet that a lot of banks will be closing their portals sometime soon. So to Jim's point, if you haven't gotten one already, you better jump on it pretty fast if you want to. And again, our website has a ton of detail on PPP. You can use whoever you want to. If you have a relationship with Evans, go to Evans if their portal's still open. But our website has so much great detail on applying, what the criteria are. There's so many different S corps, C corps, sole proprietorships, partnerships. There's so many different rules and regs and what you have to upload for that. But you could use our website as a resource to deal with your own bank if your own bank didn't have the same resources on their website. Been a great program, helped out a lot of companies. I think I had a note here. I talked to the local SBA rep last week. There was about 40 billion left in the program. So that should be pretty much taken up in the next 60 days. But there could be a little bit left over, but I don't think they're going to redo that program because it's just been around so long. Let's see. Other SBA items of interest. As Jim mentioned, the 7A guarantee is up to 90% until September 30th. And all SBA fees are waived on those 7A loans. So it's pretty attractive right now that, if somebody needs $100,000 or $200,000 for their business and a bank can do that SBA loan, they're not going to pay an SBA guarantee fee. And that guarantee fee is, in the past has been like 3.5% of the loan amount. So you can save some considerable dollars right now if you need some capital and you're able to get it from a bank. On the 504 side, actually in the 7A side, loans approved from February 1st until 9/30 will receive 3 months of SBA loan payments. And I say provided funding is available. There's always that asterisk of the government is if they run out of funds, then they can't do that. So, but like right now on loans that are approved, not closed, but approved between now and September, they're supposed to be entitled to 3 months of SBA loan payments under what's called the Section 1112 payment, which is another portion of the last act I think Donald Trump signed before he left. So it's another nice benefit that your client can get 3 months of loan payments made by the SBA. Now you'll get a 1099 from the government for those payments, but you got to pay some tax on that. But you're still, you can get those payments, and the cap is I think up to $9,000 per month of loan payments to be made on an SBA loan. We talked about the SBA 504 fees, the 1.5% being waived and picked up by the SBA right now as well. And the RRF, I think it's a great program, and Jim really did a great job talking about that. And from what I understand, they've allocated $28 billion for that program, but I've heard from the restaurant industry that there's about $120 billion appetite for it. So to Jim's point, I think that first 21 days, I think that the RRF fund's going to be depleted. Now the question is, will more money be added to it? Hopefully it will. I know it's been a big priority to take care of the restaurants, and there's a lot of lobbying going on to help out the hospitality industry. They've been hurt just as bad as restaurants, and see if they can get a fund like this as well. That would really help them. But if you're interested and you can't get access to it and it does run out of money, one of the most potent tools for SBA loans is email your congressperson. Congress sets the budget for the SBA. And I was telling Jim the story yesterday. I had a client that was having a problem last year getting approved, and he had a friend of a friend who knew Trump and said, should I use that route? And I said, no, they don't. I said, the SBA doesn't really care about the president, whoever it may be. I'm like, they care about Congress because Congress sets their budget. So I said, email your congressman. And if your congressperson sends an email to the SBA, they will get action on that. So, if that RF fund does run dry quickly and you or your clients want to get access to it, have them, send emails to Joe Morelli and whoever. It will get noticed and it will get sent. And the SBA does not like getting congressional inquiries. I will tell you that. They told me that themselves when I had an issue last year. Said, we do not like an email from a congressperson because they jump on it and they will act on it. So it does work to email your congressman from that perspective. That's all I have. That's my contact information, my email, my office. I'm over in Linden Oaks, but I have actually been working from the basement here after I had COVID in December, and I just moved home and turned my ping pong table into my desk here. So I'm loving being at home, and so my cell number is my best number to reach me. But again, if you have, check out our website. You're going to see a lot of good information on there and access to capital. We try to include other things in our various regions that we work in. So in Monroe County or in Rochester, there should be some links to other potential areas of funding that we knew about. Like I know Monroe County had some stuff on there for grants, I think for $10,000. We tried to include that. So check out our website, and I'm certainly open to any questions you may have right now.
Thanks, Paul. Yes, we'd love to open it up to any questions on, and we went over a lot of information. I know it might have been thrown at you pretty quickly, and there are details in those programs. So please, anybody with any questions, we'd be happy to take them.
I could have been that good. I know there's got to be some questions out there. Well, if you think about them, if you have anything, you could just email me. I'm happy to respond to those. And if you want more information, let me know. If you need any contacts that, like, if you have any clients that you're helping write business plans for, and they need a contact at the SBDC, I'm happy to share that. Whatever I can do to help. Our mission is to help New York or business grow. So whatever I can do to help with that, even if it's not. Doesn't mean a loan for me. I'm happy to help out. I always, I've been in banking 30 years, so I fully believe that, you do the right thing by helping a client, even if I don't get a deal out of it from a sales perspective, it comes back in spades down the road. I enjoy giving back from that perspective. So whatever I can do to help you, the chamber, or anybody, I'm happy to do that.
And that goes for myself as well. If anybody has any questions and on any of that, please feel free to reach out. And I can tell you on some of the what Paul had talked about on the 504 program. That program, whether a business needs an SBA guarantee or not, anybody that's looking to purchase land or do construction or do anything that involves that 504 program, I would encourage anybody, regardless of whether they have collateral or enough collateral or not, to look at that program. The rates that Paul quoted, I had somebody that was looking to purchase a property and it wasn't the fact that they needed an SBA guarantee to get bank approval, but the terms and condition of that program, to be able to lock in a rate for 25 years, you typically don't see on the commercial side. So to be able to lock in that rate at such a low rate that that 504 program offers is advantageous to anybody. typically you don't see a 25-year rate on a commercial mortgage like you do on a residential, and certainly not at the rate that Paul talked about in that almost 3% range. So just a little note on that. Any questions? Any other thoughts or questions on any of that? Well, if you do, please reach out to us and let us know.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate everyone's time.
So with that, if we want to go around the room and everybody have a chance to introduce themselves and what they do, be happy to. If we want to start, you're the first person on my screen. Megan. Is Megan.
Hi, everyone. My name is Megan Frieda. I work at Wegmans. I'm a store manager at Wegmans. I've been there for 25 years, but I am here today on behalf of Embrace Your Sisters. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we help provide emergency financial support for people who are diagnosed with breast cancer. We have been around since 2006. We started when a group of friends had a chicken barbecue because one of their friends was diagnosed with breast cancer and she couldn't pay her bills, forcing her to choose between some treatment options and just her general living expenses. So from there, Embrace Your Sisters started. We are a completely volunteer-based board. There are 9 members to the board. I'm the vice president, and we do a lot of fundraising throughout the year. We hold 2 large fundraisers. One is our fashion show, and then we have a walk in Pittsford in the fall. Obviously, COVID has not allowed us to do any of our fundraising efforts, but continuing to help people in the communities. Some of the things that we offer are, paying rent for people, mortgages. We will help. One woman lost her hearing because of her chemotherapy treatment, so we were able to get her hearing aids, mastectomy bras, lymphedema sleeves, new tires for cars. So right now we're doing some different unique kind of fundraising. We have a Mother's Day card that someone locally designed for us, so you can purchase those on our website, and we will personalize it and send it out to your mother, or you can purchase a pack of 5 blank cards. We're gonna hold a virtual fashion show, which is quite the learning experience for our board members, but just trying to be creative in how we move forward and continue to help people. We do serve 13 counties, the 13 counties around the Finger Lakes. And I think that is everything.
Great. Diane, you're the next person I see on my screen.
Okay. Hi, I'm Diane McClure, Edge Advertising Group. We're right in the village in the box factory. And most of us still work from home, but most days one of us goes in to keep the paperwork processing, at least through the mail. We utilize advertising tools to make your organization, whether it's a nonprofit or it is for profit, to make them more visible. And we've been doing this for over a decade, and we have graphic designers and web developers, audio production engineers, professional writers, professional voices, people that work with the media alone. So we have all those different advertising talents that we make use of to, like I said, make your organization more visible. I'm a member of the board, as Jim had mentioned previously, and I've been with the chamber now pretty close to 10 years as well.
Awesome. Yes. Thanks, Diane. Katie, you are next.
All right, thanks, Jim. I'm Katie Castro. I serve as the vice president of the chamber board, but I have been on hiatus as a part-time hybrid homeschooler with my 4 children for the last year. So that's been fun. That is slowly ending, so that's exciting. So I'm glad to be back. This is my first event back with the chamber members since the kids have started back to school last week. So it's exciting to be on a Zoom. I don't get to do as many of these as I would like to. So that said, that's my role with the chamber, but my business, I'm a certified financial planner and certified divorce financial analyst. So I help individuals and small businesses with retirement plans, retirement planning around, how much they've saved. Is it going to be enough? When can they retire? All those big life questions. How do you balance all the expenses, college savings versus retirement, those kinds of things. I have a financial planning practice with Ameriprise, and I have a couple office locations, one out in Ontario County in Clifton and one on Allens Creek Road.
Great. Thanks, Katie. And if you're looking to do more Zoom meetings, I've got another one at 3 o'clock that you can do for me if you want.
I'll think about that. Thanks, Jim.
All right, you're welcome. Devin.
Hello, everyone. I'm Devin Floyd. I am the president of RPCN. That is a Rochester Professional Consultants Network. Bob Menard has been working on setting up a speed networking event between our two organizations. And I thought I'd pop in today and introduce myself and say hi. We're looking forward to it, and should be a good time. My personal consulting company is Niocon, and I provide consulting in IT leadership and for mergers. So I help C-suite executives turn around their IT departments. So for companies that are struggling or they're performing poorly, post-merger hangovers, things like that, I can help go in and help the companies turn that around and improve the performance of their IT departments.
Great. Thanks, Devin. We normally see Bob on his bike.
Yeah,
have a
yeah,
bike
he
too?
started at day one and has not stopped. I'm surprised.
All
But yeah,
right.
thanks for letting me join your meeting today, and I'm glad I could pop in.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining. Kathy, you are next. Oh, no, I'm sorry. What do I have on my screen? Nikki.
Hello, I'm Nikki Zimmerman. I work with Equitable Advisors as a financial advisor. So basically what I do is helping people with planning for their long-term goals like retirement. So we kind of take a comprehensive look at someone's entire picture and just help them guide them on a path towards achieving their goals. I work out of Henrietta, and I just wanted to check out this event today. I've been getting involved with more of the chambers around here, just trying to network with other professionals.
Sure. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Ramona, got you next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ramona Stein. I'm an audiologist, and I have a private practice in the Bushnells Basin area, and I am on the chamber board. As far as my business goes, we see clients of all ages. Obviously, things have changed quite a bit, as with any medical setting, but we're, doing well and continue to see. Oh, my dog decided to join in the meeting there in the background. So we continue to see customers in the office and curbside, and we do a lot of veterans evaluations for compensation and pension. We work with local nursing homes, but we see clients of all ages. We fit hearing aids. We do quite a bit of community education, or we did in the past, and hopefully we'll get back to that. And I have one part-time audiologist that works for me. So that's what we do.
Great. Thank you. Kathleen.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Zastrow with Fairport Baptist Homes, and I'm the Director of Special Events and Community Engagement here. And so we have our fundraising golf tournament in July, and we have a walk in September. And new this year, we've actually added 5 virtual events. And the next one is in May 20th, called Virtual Vino. So if you like wine or gift cards, feel free to purchase a ticket on our website. It's $20 and you're guaranteed to win something. You can choose red wine or white wine, but you may get a gift card instead. But right now we definitely have more wine than gift cards. So definitely feel free to, we're also accepting donations. So if anyone has any spare wine laying around, we'll take it.
Okay, thank you, Kathleen.
Mhm.
Sounds good. Dan,
All right. So Dan Lysick with Sage Tree Wealth. We are your local retirement plan experts working with small to medium-sized businesses from 1 employee to 500 plus, brand new startup retirement plans up to $60 million. We specialize in 401k, simple IRAs, SEPs, those type of thing. So if you're a business owner and you want to kind of start saving for money and retain good employees, now is the time to maybe have a talk and start up a retirement plan. Dan Lysick, Sage Tree Wealth.
thanks, Dan. Darren,
Hi, everybody. I'm Darren McKee. I'm with the Chamber. I also work as the marketing manager for Pride Mark Homes. We're a regional home builder. We, for over 40 years, we build both commercial and residential, and we have 2 new projects I've been excited about. We are going to be building a new community in Webster within the village boundaries. That'll be very similar to our Arbor Creek property in Webster, if you're familiar with that. And then we have a brand new rental community coming to Fairport that is going to be on 250 near the Northfield, not too far from the Baptist home. That'll be walkable to the village. We're very excited about that as well. That'll be apartments and townhomes. We hope to break ground on both those properties next month. So lots of stuff in the works for coming up next year. And then we also have some rental properties in town, including Fairport as well.
great, thanks, Darren. Did you say next month is planning on breaking
Yeah, we're
ground?
hoping to break ground on both projects next month. So we're
Ah.
excited about it. And then the one in Fairport, we're hoping 2022 to have some units be able to rent, and probably around the same time frame, maybe a little sooner for the Webster project.
Great, thank you. And last but not least, Rick.
I'm still here.
Okay.
So Rick Hall, Minuteman Press in Fairport, the corner of 250 and 31. And now that you've all learned about how to get more money for your business and keep it running, now all you need is customers. So we specialize in coming up with marketing products and promotional products, mailing products, and anything that has your name on it that you want to brand yourself with. We can help you grow your business with all that extra money you just learned how to get. So if you're interested in doing that, come see me, Rick Hall, Minuteman Press in Fairport.
Thanks a lot, Rick. Thanks a lot. And thanks everybody for joining us today. So we
Did you want me to
appreciate,
Run through the dates or
Yes.
upcoming dates?
yes,
Okay.
please.
So as was already mentioned, we have a speed networking with RPN, and visitors are welcome to that as well. You don't need to be a member of our chamber RPN. It is May 25 from 11 to noon. And in June, we're going to have Golden Hello Company talk about meaningful connections with amongst your employees as well as with your customers. August 6th is going to be an open house at Ashley Woods, sponsored by Penfield Chamber, inviting the Fairport Chamber to participate. And in the summer, the RPO is coming to Parenton live, and they are looking to meet with us to determine how we can make our own members more visible through that event. And then the last one that is on the schedule right now is September 14. And McConville, Constantine, Kuman, and Marin, they are going to be talking once again about succession planning. They gave that presentation about 2 years ago now, and they will be repeating that. Oh, and one other thing I'll mention too is on Saturday, it's May 1, and it is the voting round beginning for the top 3 businesses in each category for the reader rankings. It's sponsored by the RBJ and the Daily Record. You can go to either one of their websites under events and you'll see reader rankings. And it's a good opportunity to support our fellow chamber members. So you can have the website up with our chamber directory list as you go down through their ballot, and you can literally vote every day. And the whole frequency idea, the more in advertising, the more frequently we get in front of the consumer, the more likely they're going to remember our clients when it comes to their own decision-making time. So they capitalize on that. Participation is free, voting is free, but it's a time we can support each other and have a lot of our members be in the top 3 in each of the categories.
Definitely. Great. Thank you, Diane. We've got a lot of events coming up. Hopefully, sooner than later, we'll actually be able to do some of these in person and see everybody in person. So, I appreciate everybody attending, and I appreciate Paul co-hosting this with us and providing a lot of good information. So thank you, everybody. Unless anybody has any other questions, or if you think of anything, please reach out to us. Everybody have a great day, and glad to see you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah, goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.